Sometimes the most beautiful evenings can shatter into pieces with the discovery of something as simple as a lipstick tube. My story begins on what should have been one of the most romantic nights of my marriage, but ended up being the night I discovered that betrayal can come from the two people you trust most in the world. I'm Emma, and I had just finished celebrating my fifth wedding anniversary with my husband, Marcus. It had been a perfect evening. Dinner at the French restaurant where we had our first date, dancing under the stars, and endless promises about our future together. Marcus had even surprised me with the diamond earrings I had been admiring for months. We were driving home in his car, my hand in his, talking about maybe starting a family soon. I felt so incredibly lucky to have found my soulmate, my best friend, the man who still made my heart skip a beat after 5 years of marriage. "Thank you for tonight," I said, squeezing his hand. "It was perfect." "Anything for my beautiful wife," Marcus replied, bringing my hand to his lips to kiss it gently. When we got home, I realized I had left my phone in his car. "I'll be right back," I told him as he headed inside. "I just need to grab my phone." I opened the passenger door and reached under the seat where my phone had slipped during the drive. My fingers brushed against something small and cylindrical. I pulled it out, expecting it to be a pen or maybe one of Marcus's work supplies. Instead, I found myself holding a tube of lipstick. A bright red lipstick that definitely wasn't mine. My stomach dropped. I stood there in our driveway holding this foreign lipstick, trying to think of a logical explanation. Maybe it belonged to a female colleague who had carpooled with Marcus. Maybe it had been there for months and we just hadn't noticed. But something deep in my gut told me that this was something much worse. I walked back into the house, the lipstick tube feeling like it weighed 1,000 pounds in my palm.
I walked back into the house, the lipstick tube feeling like it weighed 1,000 pounds in my palm. Marcus was in the bathroom, washing his face after our long evening out. I could hear him humming the song we had danced to at the restaurant. The sound that had been so sweet just minutes before now felt like nails on a chalkboard. "Marcus?" I called out, my voice steadier than I expected. "I need to ask you about something." "What's up, babe?" he replied from the bathroom, still in his good mood. I held up the lipstick when he emerged. "I found this in your car." The change in his expression was immediate and telling. His face went from relaxed and happy to tense and guilty in a split second. He opened his mouth, then closed it, then opened it again like a fish gasping for air. Where did you find that?" he asked, avoiding my eyes. "Under the passenger seat, where my phone fell." I kept my voice calm, but my hands were shaking. "It's not mine, Marcus. Whose is it?" He ran his hand through his hair, a nervous habit I had learned to recognize over the years. "Emma, I can explain." "Then explain." It's not what you think." "I haven't told you what I think yet. I'm asking you whose lipstick this is." Marcus sat down heavily on our bed, the same bed where we had made love just 2 nights before, the same bed where we had planned our future together countless times. "It's Lily's lipstick," he said quietly. The words hit me like a physical blow. "What?" "It's Lily's lipstick. She left it in my car." "Why would Lily be in your car? And why would she be wearing lipstick in your car?" My voice was rising now, the calm facade cracking. "Emma, please, let me explain everything." But I was already putting the pieces together, and the picture they formed was destroying everything I thought I knew about my life. But I was already putting the pieces together, and the picture they formed was destroying everything I thought I knew about my life. "How long?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Marcus looked up at me with tears in his eyes. "Emma, please. How long have you been sleeping with my sister?" The silence that followed was the loudest sound I had ever heard. It stretched between us like a chasm, and with each passing second, my marriage fell deeper into it. 6 months, he finally admitted. 6 months? Half a year of lies? Half a year of betrayal? Half a year of my husband and my sister laughing behind my back? I thought about all the family dinners where they sat across from each other, all the times Lily had hugged me goodbye while her lipstick was in Marcus's car, all the times Marcus had kissed me after being with her. How? I asked, though I wasn't sure I wanted to know. How did this happen? It started when you were in Chicago for your work conference. Lily came over to check on me, and we had some wine, and one thing led to another. The conference in March? That was 6 months ago. You mean you've been lying to me since March? Marcus nodded miserably. Emma, I love you. I never meant for this to happen. It just did. And Lily, what's her excuse? She feels terrible about it too. We both do. I laughed, but it was a bitter, broken sound. You both feel terrible? How considerate of you both to feel terrible while you were betraying me. Emma, please, we can work through this. I'll end it with Lily. We can go to counseling. I'll do whatever it takes to make this right. I looked at my husband, the man I had trusted with my heart, my future, my entire life. The man who had just destroyed everything with 3 simple words. It's your sister's. No, I said quietly. We can't work through this. Because it's not just about you cheating. It's about you cheating with the one person in the world who should have protected me instead of betraying me.
No, I said quietly. We can't work through this because it's not just about you cheating. It's about you cheating with the one person in the world who should have protected me instead of betraying me. I needed to hear it from Lily herself. I needed to look into my sister's eyes and ask her how she could do this to me. The drive to Lily's apartment felt like the longest 20 minutes of my life. It was past midnight, but I didn't care. Some conversations can't wait for morning. I rang her doorbell repeatedly until she finally answered, wearing a robe and looking confused. Emma, what are you doing here? It's so late. We need to talk. Now. Something in my voice must have warned her, because her face went pale. She stepped aside to let me in, and I noticed she was wearing the same red lipstick I had found in Marcus's car. I found your lipstick in Marcus's car tonight, I said without preamble. Lily's mouth opened and closed, just like Marcus's had. Emma, 6 months, Lily. 6 months you've been sleeping with my husband. She started to cry then, big, dramatic tears that once would have made me want to comfort her. Now they just made me angry. I'm so sorry, Emma. I never meant for it to happen. We were both lonely and… Lonely? I cut her off. You were lonely? So you decided to sleep with your sister's husband? It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Explain to me how you accidentally ended up in bed with Marcus. Explain to me how you looked me in the eye every Sunday at family dinner, knowing what you had done. Lily sat down on her couch, her head in her hands. I wanted to tell you so many times. I felt horrible about it. But not horrible enough to stop. No, she whispered. Not horrible enough to stop. I stood there looking at my little sister, the person I had protected and defended my entire life, and I felt something die inside me. I stood there looking at my little sister, the person I had protected and defended my entire life, and I felt something die inside me. Emma, please, Lily begged. You have to believe me. I never wanted to hurt you. I love you. You're my sister. If you loved me, you wouldn't have been sleeping with my husband for 6 months. I know,
I know. I was weak and I made a terrible mistake. But we can fix this. We're family. I looked at Lily, really looked at her, and saw her for what she was. Someone who would take whatever she wanted, regardless of who got hurt. Someone who had been doing this our entire lives, but I had been too blind to see it. You know what, Lily? You're right. We can fix this. Her face lit up with hope. Really? You'll forgive me? Of course, I said, forcing a smile. But first, I need to know everything. I need to know every detail so I can process this and move forward. For the next hour, Lily told me everything. Every meeting, every lie she had told me to cover for their affairs, every time they had been together while I was at work or out of town. She seemed to think that her honesty was helping her case, not realizing that every word she spoke was giving me exactly what I needed. And Marcus, I asked, how does he feel about all this? He loves you, Emma. He really does. But he says he can't help how he feels about me, too. I see. And what do you want to happen now? I want him to choose me, she said quietly. I love him, Emma. I know it's wrong, but I love him. Well then, I said, standing up, I guess we'll have to see who he chooses. I left Lily's apartment with a plan forming in my mind. If they wanted to play games, I would show them how the game was really played. I left Lily's apartment with a plan forming in my mind. If they wanted to play games, I would show them how the game was really played. Over the next week, I played the perfect wife. I acted like the conversation with Marcus had never happened. I was loving, attentive, and seemingly oblivious to their affair. I even invited Lily over for dinner twice, watching as she and Marcus tried to act normal around each other. But while I was playing the loving wife, I was also documenting everything. I hired a private investigator to follow them and photograph their meetings. I consulted with a divorce attorney to understand my rights. And most importantly, I gathered evidence of all our assets and Marcus's business dealings. What Marcus didn't know was that I had always been better with finances than he was. Over the years, I had quietly built my own investment portfolio and had been slowly moving money into accounts he didn't know about. I had learned this from watching my parents' messy divorce when I was younger. Never be financially dependent on someone who could betray you. The private investigator's photos were devastating. Marcus and Lily at hotels, kissing in parking lots, holding hands at restaurants across town. But the most damning photo was from my own home. Lily leaving our house in the middle of the day while I was at work, clearly having spent time there with my husband. After 2 weeks of gathering evidence, I was ready to make my move. I called both Marcus and Lily and asked them to come to dinner at our house on Saturday night. I have something important to discuss with both of you, I told each of them separately. They both agreed, probably thinking I was going to give them my blessing or ask them to help me understand their relationship. They had no idea what was really coming. Saturday night arrived, and they both showed up looking nervous but hopeful. We sat down to eat the dinner I had prepared, making small talk about work and family. Finally, over dessert, I cleared my throat. I asked you both here tonight because I have some news to share. Finally, over dessert, I cleared my throat. I asked you both here tonight because I have some news to share. Marcus and Lily exchanged glances across the table. They were probably wondering if I was going to announce that I was stepping aside so they could be together. First, I said, pulling out a manila folder, I want to show you some photographs. I spread the private investigator's photos across the dinner table like playing cards. Marcus's face went white. Lily gasped and knocked over her wine glass. These are beautiful, don't you think? I said conversationally. Especially this one of you leaving my house last Tuesday, Lily. I was at work, if you're wondering. Emma, we can explain, Marcus started. Oh, I don't need explanations. I have everything I need right here. I pulled out another folder. Divorce papers, already filed. financial statements showing that I've been moving our assets into separate accounts for the past year, something I started doing when I suspected you might be cheating, though I never imagined it would be with my own sister. Marcus's jaw dropped. You've been planning this for a year? Not planning, preparing. There's a difference. I hoped I would never need to use any of this. I turned to Lily. And for you, dear sister, I have something special. I pulled out my phone and showed them a group text I had sent to our entire family, including the photos and a detailed explanation of their affair. You sent this to everyone? She whispered, tears streaming down her face. Mom, Dad, all our cousins, aunts, uncles, everyone. I thought they should know what kind of people you both really are. Emma, this is cruel. You're destroying both of our reputations. I'm not destroying anything. I'm revealing what was already destroyed. I stood up from the table. You both made your choices. You chose each other over me, chose lies over truth, chose betrayal over loyalty. Now you get to live with the consequences. I walked toward the door, then turned back. Oh, and one more thing. Marcus, you'll find that I've already moved out. My lawyer will be in touch about the divorce proceedings. Lily, you're no longer welcome in my life. Ever. Where will you go? Lily asked desperately. I smiled for the first time in weeks. I already have a new place, a fresh start, away from both of you. As I drove away from the house that had once been my home, I felt something I hadn't expected. Relief. The betrayal had been devastating, but discovering my own strength in the aftermath had been liberating. 6 months later, I was living in a beautiful apartment across town, had been promoted at work, and was dating someone who actually deserved my trust. Marcus and Lily were together, but their relationship was already falling apart under the weight of the scandal and the realization that relationships built on betrayal rarely survive. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even, it's getting free. 1 year after that devastating anniversary dinner, I received a call that I had both expected and dreaded. It was my mother. Emma, honey, I need to tell you something about Lily. What about her? I asked, though part of me already knew. She and Marcus broke up. It happened 3 weeks ago, but she's been too ashamed to tell anyone. She's been calling everyone in the family, asking if they think you might be willing to talk to her. I sat down on my couch, processing this information. And what did you tell her? I told her that forgiveness isn't something she can ask for through other people. If she wants to make amends, she needs to face you herself. Mom, I appreciate you calling, but I'm not ready to. I'm not asking you to forgive her, sweetheart. I'm just telling you because I thought you should know. Marcus apparently cheated on her too, with someone from his office. I almost laughed at the irony. So, he did to her what they did to me. Exactly. And now Lily is learning what it feels like to be betrayed by someone you trust. She's been staying with me for the past 2 weeks, crying constantly, and saying she finally understands what she put you through. That evening, I found myself thinking about Lily for the first time in months, not with anger anymore, but with something closer to pity. She had destroyed our relationship for a man who was never going to be faithful to anyone. The next morning, I found Lily sitting on the steps outside my apartment building. She looked terrible. Her hair was unkempt, her eyes were red from crying, and she had lost weight. How did you know where I live? I asked. I hired a private investigator, she said quietly. I learned that from you. Despite everything, I almost smiled. What do you want, Lily? I want to tell you that you were right about everything. Marcus is exactly who you said he was. I was so blinded by thinking I had won something that I never realized what I had actually lost. And what was that? My sister. The one person who always had my back, always protected me, always loved me unconditionally. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just needed you to know that I finally understand what I did, and I will regret it for the rest of my life. I looked down at her, this broken version of the sister I used to know, and felt something shift inside me. Not forgiveness exactly, but maybe the beginning of closure. Lily, I said finally, I can't forgive you. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I can tell you this. The pain you're feeling now will get better. And when it does, maybe you'll become the person you were always capable of being. She nodded, wiping her tears. I hope someday I can earn even a small piece of your respect back. Maybe. But first, you need to learn to respect yourself. As I watched her walk away, I realized that my revenge was complete. Not because I had hurt them, but because they had finally hurt themselves. And sometimes, that's the most perfect justice of all. If this story shocked you, just wait for what's next. Leave a comment, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and of course, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss a single notification.